I thought at the time since my wife's gonna get the little man. So I haven't accidentally came across this because they have like similar videos to other videos you watch and stuff like that. And this is from the one only legendary Larry wrestler, one half of the legendary tag team, the Dudley Boys, Devon Dudley. And this is talk about him as part of the this is something he did after the Dudley Boys split up due to the first WWE draft as well too. Devon Dudley would have a gimmick and a heel gimmick, gimmick that will unfortunately been Hill called Reverend Devon, and why the gimmick was very interesting and low-key funny, and also lost the career of another wrestler who hopefully get the Hall of Fame down the line. That would be Batista, as he became the Deacon. It was a good, but it was good for him. Then it kind of fell for a while. So and this is from the man himself, Devon Dudley. A lot of wrestlers as of lately though, and talk about their career in the past. Maven done it. I did a reaction to JT, J Jay from Prime Time, JCG from Prime Time about he talked about his time by that Prime Time almost got why they didn't win the tag team and all this stuff as well too. So this is one to hear from the man himself to see what happened with the Reverend D without giving though. Because like to me, his heel was kind of like a nostalgia gimmick that was kind of entertaining, kind of like the Booker T, the King Booker in a way. Usually you're supposed to hit does the boom, you did what you did. At the same time, you had some good laughs with the gimmicks as well too. So anyway, without further ado, let's check out why from Devon Dudley, why Reverend Devon was canceled by WWE. Let's get it.
Oh, testify!
I remember when he first came on. This is after the draft happened, and he first came to Vince, talk with his give him like, wow. During the time when he's part of the Dudley, you only have like a minister like speech where he talked about Dudley. Should that? Shut that down, what please, and when he do like the 3D or something like that, he do like a little dance, kind of like you like a church, somebody in church shouting, and then he did a little cross right there too. So it was a perfect for him. And to me, sadly they made him a heel, but it was a perfect gimmick in a way for him. Well, let's get to it. We get to hear the whole story behind the gimmick. It's great. To get Batista. Yep, it's comedy.
Oh, my brother!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to not only bring you another video, but I'm here today to let you know how we're gonna resurrect the Reverend Devon character, if you will. We're gonna talk about the rise of the Reverend Devon character, as well as the fall of the Reverend Devon character. So sit back and enjoy this sermon. Now let's get started.
Tonight,
Yep.
we will witness the first ever World
So it
Wrestling
wasn't.
Federation
So it was right. It was the first draft. I was trying to wonder if it was the first draft when they got split up.
draft.
Like I said, it was a rise and fall of the Devon Reverend Devon character. Both of them, and when they went single, she did pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. They did pretty good as single wrestlers. I mean, Bubba when he would be the ruler of the hardcore division at the time, killed it, keeping the Dudley uh gimmick along, and then him with his unique Reverend Devon gimmick, that's pretty good. Let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest right there. That's my honest thought. I could be. I mean, some might have like other opinions to that, but in my opinion, they did good as single wrestlers. I mean,
So in 2002, Vince McMahon came to Bubba and myself and said that he had an idea, and that idea was to break up the Dudleys. Now, we weren't happy with the idea because we still felt that there was more to do.
typical Vince, he always like to test the world, breaking up tag teams. I mean, and so that became a thing with him. Like sometimes you feel like that Vince McMahon don't like tag teams.
We said okay because what were we gonna do, say no? And we can't
Right.
say no to the boss.
Right.
So we went through it, and then the draft was done that Monday. Bubba went to Raw, and I went to SmackDown. It was a challenge. Remember, I had been with Bubba for 10 years at
Yes.
this point. So me being in tag team wrestling and now going into a singles run, I felt at
And that's the other thing about that too. Like these were guys that have been tag team in previous companies or or some cases previous development like the NXT and all that as well too. And also, just because Vince had this like hot idea to give a experiment, they bring up something they had good for a while. So yeah, that's something to think about as well too.
first it was going to be very difficult. But the more I started preaching to the masses of people out there, the more I got comfortable. I started taking stuff from my mom and dad. I started taking stuff from everywhere. And thus, the Reverend Devon character was formed. All right, boys, you know I know a thing or two about ladders. Your ladder could be standing up tall and saluting to your lady. Keep it going like a
Hold
genetic.
up. He's doing a you thing. I'm gonna kind of skip this. I got love for you, Devon, but I'm gonna kind of skip this. Yeah. Shout out you get your shout out you getting your sponsor on with Blue Chew, but yeah, you might skip it, buddy. Especially not the time you say talk about this. Hey, stop.
Blue Chew for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the content.
Tonight's sermon has to deal with masturbation. That's
Yo.
a sin. Oh, that's a sin.
I think that's probably part why he was giving it was a hill because he was downplaying things, at this was still kind of like I think it was still kind of add to here leading to the ruthless aggression, and people still into like crazy shit. So it was like same with like how Right the Censor got downplayed. This got downplayed for that as well too. Some people like the guy had to testify, sign just to have it because there's our respect for Devon. The all it is going boom just cause.
When Vince McMahon came to me with the idea of becoming Reverend Devon,
Okay.
I was a little shocked, but at the same token, I thought it would be a cinch because you see, that's kind of like my background. That's how I grew up. Because he knew I came from a church family, and he knew that both my parents were reverends.
Wow, that explains a whole lot why he has kind of had that during his gimmick in it as a Dudley Boy. Wow, that explains a whole lot right there. So yeah, I figured that. I figured it'd be something like that.
And with the whole testify and doing all of that, it kind of fit perfect.
Yup.
What I loved about it the most was Vince let me be able to be me. He knew that I knew the scriptures left and right. And there were times when I actually would go to him and say, listen, this is what I'm gonna say. He stopped me in mid-sentence and said, I have confidence in you. I've heard you do this before, so therefore, I wanna go along with it. I want to just be surprised as you're talking. And that's exactly what we did. We hit a home run every single time we did a promo. I started getting into my groove, started really enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, I miss Bubba, but there was something different about me doing it by myself and connecting with the people with the new character. To me, it just flowed. When I went back home and showed my mom and dad the first video, my dad sat me down and pretty much said, son, when you're done hooping and hollering in the ring, make sure you come back to where it really counts, and that's the pool pit. He started giving me advice on how to lay things out. And he started telling me different scriptures and things like that that I can use to make the character better. And that's exactly what I did.
Nice. The final pieces. Yeah, I forgot this was the theme at first. It was just a church organ theme.
So the first time my music hit, I didn't like it. It sounded like Catholic organs playing. And as you know, I come from a Baptist church, so there should not have been Catholic organ playing at that time. Nothing's wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't sit right with me. So I went back to Vince and I told him I wasn't happy with the music that was provided for me. So therefore, he went back to Jim Johnson, who did all the music for the talent during that time, and he changed it to The Righteous Man, which people listen to now.
This man need to be in the damn Hall of Fame, man. Jim Johnson need to be in the Hall of Fame, man. I don't know why he hasn't been in the Hall of Fame yet.
Out all the time and said it was a great song because it fit my character so well. So
And they was
someone
booed
who was
him. Like I
higher
said,
up
it's
at
a
the
hill.
time and who is still affiliated with the WWE, Bruce Pritchard, who had a lot of success with the Brother Love gimmick,
Yup.
basically told me that I was going to have somebody that was going to help me spread the word. And that person was a 350-pound,
Batista.
6'4", 6'5"
Dicky Batista.
machine called Batista.
I'm laughing. I remember him like, motherfucker. His whole thing was Dicky Batista. Yo, when we got the evolution of Batista, before we got the he was straight out Dicky Batista with with a sleeveless jacket, a shirt around a offering tray with a big chain around his neck. Yo.
At first, I remember him when I saw him when he came up for a couple of tryouts and thought this man was bigger than life. And to be
Yeah.
able to move the way he did in the ring when I saw him right before he got with me, I thought it was a perfect fit. And at first it really was. We drove together, we did everything together, and we kind of made the character work.
Yep.
I thought the Reverend Devon character just took off at that point, and we were rolling. It got to the point where we were beating up people like Randy Orton, Val
Young
Venus,
Ray Orton.
and somebody who's making headway now, John Cena.
Yup. It was early time. Yup. This is around time. The big four of OVW came. Yup. It was Brock first, then Orton, and then Cena, and then Batista. Yup. And then all in their except for Brock, all in their pre gimmicks before they got to the gimmick. They made them famous, yo, for real.
So I got to work with a young John Cena. He was fresh up from OVW,
Yup.
which was WWE's developmental company at the time. And again, he was young, he was green. He's not the John Cena that you
Right.
see now. He
Right.
was very, very eager to learn. He basically had to slow down a little bit because, you know, he was anxious and all of that. And what right person to put him in the ring with than me? I don't go a million miles an hour when I'm in that ring. I like to take it as slow as I possibly can. And him and I had good chemistry.
Yup.
A lot of times, even after when I came back to WWE in 2015, him and I discussed that and how he said he had a good time with the Reverend Devon character because he enjoyed it because
It's funny how all the videos react to coexist with each other too. Because I just have finished doing a video from Polano about good chemistry about wrestlers who had no chemistry with each other as well too. That's what he said. That's how I mentioned in the beginning. One thing about a match, you must have good chemistry, and there's or your match going to work. And that right there is why the Devon was working, and why John Cena was the star, the future star we saw in him, and which he is now. You know, he's a heel, sellout heel right now, but still. Mhm.
it was so different than anybody else. I had the opportunity to wrestle Triple H
Yup.
in a singles match, first time ever, and actually won that match with the help of Chris Jericho, of course.
Of course.
But still, when you look in the win-loss column, Devon beat Triple H. So I don't
Yup.
want to say too much because he might try to bring me back in the ring and
Right.
get his revenge. I don't want
Right.
that. So I'm going to
Yup.
be nice and say thank you, Hunter. Thank you for actually laying down for me and trying to help that Reverend Devon character get over the way you did. As Devon Dudley, I was cheered. The fans loved the Devon Dudley
course.
character. They loved the Devon get the tables. They loved the Dudley boys. Now, the Reverend Devon character is now turning into the bad guy, which in pro wrestling we call a heel.
At least he meant it by being a heel. So unless he pointed out that was a heel, and I mean, it's. Can I say that because you know a lot of like gimmicks there, don't sugarcoat. They kind of sugarcoat it a little bit just because how popular it is, not knowing that at the time they were the bad guy at the time as well too. So yeah, so glad he didn't sugarcoat it.
And being booed out of the arena sometimes, it was kind of cool. Because when you want to be a bad guy, that's what you want. You want to get booed, you want to get hated. And that's exactly what happened with the Reverend Devon character. It was getting to the point where a lot of people back in that era basically was watching TV evangelists like Benny Hinn and Jimmy Swagger, who were all being pulled from the pulpit because of the fact of what they were doing outside of the church. They were naturally bad guys right away. So
Right.
I wanted that same heat. I wanted to be able to generate
That was
that
it.
much hatred.
I'm not sure, I ain't down with the heels or anything. I was down with the babyface for life, but that is genius how he did that though, to make himself hateful. Like that's the thing about it. And this thing about that, that's what they gotta do nowadays. Like, gotta make sure that you're a character that they know they're gonna hate. Don't make a character that's too cool to hate. Like that's the thing about being a heel. Like that's why I always get props to the Ruthless Aggression era and the Attitude Era. Hell, the new generation era, to be honest. Like they know how to make a heel he's hated. I mean, these days, we already got people who are already a rebel, who always loved about the dark side, who living by the Joker quote, Joker, Two Face, wherever the fuck did the quote. You live long enough, you die, see yourself die as a hero, live long enough, see yourself a villain, and then that doesn't help that they make wrestlers that's a heel pull is not something you should do because when you do that, you're not getting the reception you're supposed to get as a heel, and then that's why you get these guys on a mission, these bizarre world like these bizarre world reception because you're making the heel too cool and you're making the babyface not as cool as the heel as well too. So they gotta fix that in the well too. Thank God this past Raw the crowds a little better, but at the same time it's still something they gotta fix though.
For my Reverend Devon character, and I think it worked. There was one particular promo that we did with Vince McMahon, Batista, and Stacy Keibler. We were praying right before Stacy Keibler went out to take on Trish Stratus. Now, in Trish Stratus's corner was going to be Bubba Ray.
Yup.
And of course, in my corner was going to be Stacy
I remember
Keibler.
that. Yeah, I
I'm
remember
sitting
that.
up there praying, and as I'm praying, Vince McMahon is right next to Stacy Keibler. Everybody's head is bowed, every eye is closed, and as I kind of look up a little bit, I see Vince looking at Stacy in a lustful way. And when that happened, I guess I was going a little too long for Vince, so he kind of went, I was like, amen. And that kind of stopped everything. So that was when everything really started to take off for me. It felt good to be able to have the focus and the spotlight on me at that time.
Yeah, and let's hear what happened. Yeah.
Again, Bruce Pritchett, he was the one that helped behind the Reverend Devon character. He was the one that gave me the confidence to go out there and do it. And then I came into work one day and found out that Bruce was no longer going to be affiliated with that character. Paul Heyman was going.
That's what happened. And, Heyman probably was not down with the gimmick. He loved his Dudleys. He loved anybody from his ECW days going to be his babies no matter what. I mean, remember the gimmick where the Dudley was babyface and he was chastised RVD for doing what he doing, and then they confronted him, and then he had to remind them who they were, and they turned on RVD, turned heel on them. But yeah, Heyman is about his boys, and he probably was not feeling that at all. Oh yeah, I can see probably what happened right there.
To take over. Now, who would better know Devon than Paul Heyman?
Of course.
The man who helped create me in ECW.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like I like to always say, ECW made me a star, but the WWE made me a superstar. So to have Paul Heyman writing for me at that time, I thought it was great until I read the verbiage. Paul Heyman is such a genius, he's such a mastermind that he was writing these words that I couldn't even pronounce, let alone spell. So I was having a little difficulty with the promo. And I remember Paul pulled me aside and goes, read the promos, but put it in Reverend Devon's words. Don't worry about going word for word what I said, but do it in your own character. And it somewhat worked. It really did. It started to flow, everything started to do well. And then, like I said, all of a sudden, the character somewhat went downhill. It was something, I guess, Vince didn't feel that the character was getting over quick enough. He didn't like it anymore. He had fun with it, but then it was like
it was fun when
he wanted to put it on the shelf and not really use it anymore. That started the downfall of the Reverend Devon character.
Okay.
I thought I was getting the character over. The fans were responding. The guys in the back, the talent in the back was loving it. But like we always say, there's only one man that you play to at that time, and that's Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And he didn't think the character was going the way it should go. So unfortunately, the character was starting to be pulled little by little. It got to the point where Batista turned on me in the middle of the ring and pretty much left me laying.
Yep. You gonna
That was when
sell.
I knew that
You ain't gonna sell with Caesar.
the ride was over.
Yup.
I didn't know where I was going to go or what I was going to do after that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I kind of remember this when he had team with Farouk. This one, I think this was really when they start calling Ron Simmons again. Was when he started tagging with Devon as well too. And he started rocking the shirt, the button up shirt and the collar. He just rocking a shirt, the Jesus fish with Devon on it. Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
Because after that, I was either not being used or I was getting beat. And I was getting beat relatively quickly from talent that was not even mid-card at that time. So I had to try to repackage myself and try to do things again. And now I'm in the middle of trying to find myself again with a character that I felt very complete with at that point in time, but now I had to restart over. Nothing's worse than having to start over when you already thought that a character that you were pushing and make happen is now dissolving right in front of your eyes. I can understand if the character wasn't going well, if the people weren't responding, but the people were responding. But again, like I said, you played a one man and one man only, and that's Vince. And at that time, he wasn't excited about the character. So with that being said, the Reverend Devon character was no more. It started to fade off into the sunset.
This sermon, oh my brother, is over.
Return to WWE. Yup. That Royal Rumble.
I remember being pulled by the side by Michael Hayes. And Michael Hayes pulled me aside and said, Devon, I want to talk to you for a second. Listen, we're thinking about putting the Dudleys back together again. And I was a little disappointed because not because I didn't want to get back with Bubba, was because I was really angry that the Reverend Devon character was put on the shelf, which I felt for no reason. When he told me that, I said, okay, not a problem. I said, when are they gonna do it? He says, well, Survivor Series is coming up Sunday and we want to do it there. Bubba was having a match.
I don't know why I thought Royal Rumble. Yeah, Survivor. So you're right. My fault.
It was Bubba, Jeff Hardy, and Spike versus 3 Minute Warning and Rico. When 3 Minute Warning was beating the dog mess out of Bubba, basically, here I come as being the savior.
Hey, wait a minute. What the
Yup.
I started knocking Rosie, I started knocking Umaga, started going back and forth, got rid of them,
Rosie
and then
Umaga,
we
by the
finally
way.
put Rico through a table. The ovation that I received when I ran back into the ring to help Bubba was tremendous.
Yes.
It was so loud.
Yes.
And what better place than Madison Square Garden,
Oh,
my
of course.
hometown.
Of course.
It was great to be able to
That's
do
his
that.
hometown, okay. Of
Even though I was
course.
still feeling a little way about the Reverend Devon character not making it, but yet appearing at Madison Square Garden, doing a run-in to help Bubba to win that match was great. And I was very happy and content with that at that point. And now the Dudley Boys are back together,
Yup.
and the Dudley Boys are now creating and making history after that.
Yes.
The Reverend Devon character lasted 7 months. And within that 7 months, like I said earlier, I was happy. I was content with everything that was going on. Talent thought it was doing good. The fans, I thought was doing good. And it was very heartbreaking to know that it wasn't gonna happen anymore. There were so many visions that I had about the Reverend Devon character. I wanted to be the crooked preacher that basically was asking for money in a collection plate. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the young lady in the front row, getting all excited, winking at her. It was something that I thought that would really generate good heat for me at that time, but apparently the powers that be did not see it that way. And people still come to me today and talk about it, even though it was like 20 years later, but they still talk about the Reverend Devon character. And they pretty much tell me how it was sad that it did not work and that the powers that be let it fall through their fingertips. But that's the way it is sometimes in the wrestling business. So one of the things I was happy about was that in NXT, Trick Williams, he called me and wanted me to do a video with him, getting ready for his match. So when he called me, he said,
Yup, the match with him and Ethan Page, that was a cool little moment right there. I reacted to that video too. That was a cool moment right there for sure, yo.
Devon, you did the Reverend Devon character and I loved it. He was like, I would love for you to come in this video and do exactly what you did back then. I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, I get a chance to showcase what the Reverend Devon character was all about to the new generation of fans. And it was a great response. It was something that the fans were really enjoying because this was something that I really felt that I never got my just due for because I thought the character was doing really well. Again, I look back.
See, that chick's a heel of a kid, though, man. But still, that was a cool. During this time when he was the babyface champion, it was a cool moment, though, for sure.
Back on it, I don't think it was my failure. I think it was the companies that didn't let it really breathe and let it happen. Hopefully one day I'll be able to come back as Reverend Devon, but without being in the ring.
Hey, and it can be done because it's playing gimmicks like that, or gimmicks that be like outside interference or guest appearance, not have to be in ring appearance, which is pretty cool as well too. So I can see this. I can see it be coming back again as a some side gimmick or a distraction gimmick or something like that.
All right, everybody. So thank you for joining me for this video on my thoughts on the Reverend Devon character. You know what? Do me a favor, please like and subscribe to this video and to this YouTube channel. And also, if you could do me a favor, the Reverend Devon character, as far as I'm concerned, is still going. I still have a church, but I never finished it. You see, I never finished getting the doorknobs. I never finished getting the stain on the glass windows. So if you can, reach down in your pockets and help a brother out. HBO, help a brother out. So until next time, after those donations are put in this plate, oh my brother, testify.
Yeah, I'm gonna subscribe to him, man. If I haven't, yeah, I am subscribed to him. Definitely. For sure, man. Like I do like seeing stuff like this, like the guys do like I did with JTG, wrestlers like doing flashback on stuff that in their past that work or didn't work or why certain things happened or didn't happen. So I like these videos right there as well too. I like what they're doing. I mean, they're just good at wrestlers having podcasts as well too. They have a YouTube channel to talk about who talk about this wrestling that worker, this what happened in their career, about other wrestlers, which wrestler was cool, which one was the asshole or jerk and stuff like that. So it was cool to see this, and I mean, maybe one day I might check out a video from Maven if it's come like very interesting to do a reaction. So this was a cool video to watch as well too to get the story behind it. Like I say, he knows a Hill character. It was an interesting character to check out as well too, where you boo him or you're a Hill fan, you actually cheer him. It was a very interesting character. So yeah, other than that, if you like my reaction to this, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T signing off for love.